fans? Welcome to this week's episode of The Dex, our weekly trivia and battle strategy show about a different Pokemon each week. I'm Birdkeeper Al.
And I'm PokeKellz.
And I'm Matt Pat. Hey Kells, Mr. Borland.
Oh my gosh! Hey Matt Pat, what's up?
Hey Tim.
Hey guys. So this place is weird.
Yeah, it's pretty ambiguous and we can't ever leave, so...
What?
So, wanna do a next episode?
Sure. How about Pidgey?
Great! This week's episode of The Dex starts right now!
I miss the outdoors. That's the shortest cry in the game. Pidgey is the classic Gen 1 bird Pokemon. He's such a cute little guy.
He doesn't really look all that much like a pigeon though, does he? I mean, Pidgeotto and Pidgeot look a lot more like birds of prey, don't they? Like a red-tailed hawk or something?
Yeah, I was actually going to say that Pidgey looks like more of a sparrow than a pigeon, actually. Even more so than Spearow does.
Even so, his Pokedex entries make many references to his excellent homing skills, which is very pigeony indeed.
As he evolved, Pidgey's line begins to look more and more like the Egyptian bird gods Ra and Horus. I mean, look at that back sprite. It literally just is Horus.
In the original Pokemon beta, Pidgey's name was actually Pidge, and Pidgeot had an extra T on the end of it. It was probably changed before the final release to make the names feel a little bit more differentiated from one another.
Interesting. Isn't it weird that they're all just characters in a video game? They all seem so real.
Don't say that! They are real!
I don't know about that, but they are fairly realistic. Just look at all the stuff that we talked about with Darwinism over on my channel. It's all based on science, albeit loosely.
Yeah, and that's so cool. Let's learn a little bit more about that in my new and ridiculous segment. I call it Edulution.
Edulution?
Like a mix of education and evolution?
Okay guys, come on. So you know how on Game Theory we talked about all Pokemon having a common ancestor in Mew, and how all the different regions' bird Pokemon are the result of divergent evolution?
Yeah, Kanto's all plains and grassland, so Pidgey has large feet for kicking up dust in which to hide, and a short beak so it can eat more easily off the ground.
Yeah, if you look at Tailo or Starly or Pidove or Fletchling, they all have features that seem to have evolved based on the geography of their respective regions.
Right, so how did they get from Mew to birds? There must be some sort of proto-Pokemon that doesn't really exist anymore tying them all together.
Yeah, same goes for Pikachu, Plusle, Minun, Pachirisu, Emolga, and Dedenne. They're all way too similar to not share the same grandpa, so to speak.
And how fast are these divergent evolutions being created? Maybe it happens at an accelerated rate from animals on Earth because of Pokemon's unstable genes?
That's correct, and the reason we don't have millions of missing link Pokemon is because fossil reviving technology is like Jurassic Park. You only want to revive the most awesome Pokemon you can, like Kabutops or Tyrantrum.
I get it. So we don't revive the ancestral Pokemon that led to Pidgey, Pidove, and all the rest because we don't need Pokemon to fulfill that niche. Plus, it would probably be pretty hard to find and identify those fossils too.
Makes me wonder what other Pokemon are related. I mean, what about like Garchomp and Sharpedo? The connections are everywhere.
That was so cool.
Yeah, but one thing's still bugging me. Why did they make it a plains region and then call it Kanto? Kanto's the most industrialized part of Japan.
I always kind of thought that it was because of the Game Boy's physical limitations with graphics and such. And then when it was given Game Boy Color support, they made a more advanced and more pretty looking region like Johto. But I don't know, that's just a theory.
A game theory. Sorry, force of habit. Battle strategy?
Pidgey's a tough one because he's not great, but still, if you play smart and fly right, you might be able to kick a little butt. Start with the Jolly one for speed and give it Keen Eye.
Keen Eye prevents accuracy loss. Perhaps it's a reference to how Pidgey's at home in dust clouds.
Maybe, that's cool. If you train your Pidgey in attack and speed and give him a choice scarf to hold.
It may lock him into one move, but in the process it makes him one of the fastest Pokemon in Little Cup. Huh. Maybe I should do an episode on performance enhancement drugs in the Pokemon world. I don't know.
From there, give him Brave Bird for stab and U-turn for scouting. No need to waste a good Pidgey.
In the last two slots, I'd say return for normal type stab and ominous wind for ghost type coverage and a chance to raise your stats.
Of course, that's not the only way to raise a Pidgey. In fact, here's a couple of random thoughts.
Using a choice band instead of a choice scarf is another way to run almost this exact same set, but with an emphasis on attack rather than speed.
Feint Attack is another physical-based ghost type counter for when you don't want recoil. Otherwise, you should just use Brave Bird.
And how do Pokemon use moves of different types? And how do they learn moves in the first place? And Steel Wing. That's on the Smogon page too, right? Right.
And that's it! Pidgey, the pigeon Pokemon who's actually more of a sparrow.
Yeah, hey, if you haven't seen it already, go over to the other part of this crossover over on the Game Theorist channel, and make sure to subscribe to both of us.
Yeah, man. All this talk of birds makes me wish I was still free.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. What's with all this ominous alluding to things I don't know about? Is there some sort of secret that's going on here? Some sort of lore that this show has that no one is aware of? Have you been sprinkling little clues in between all of your episodes trying to point to some larger, grander storyline? What is the secret? What is going on?
I'm Birdkeeper Alex.
And I'm PokeKellz. Tune in next week for another stinky episode of
The
Dex.
And I'm Matt Pat. Hey guys, hey Kells, hey, no. It's all based on science, albeit loosely.
We'll take that one, that's good.
Rage. Like,
Okay.
une fois.